The new material, which Asprey is keen to point out was written very much as a band effort, sees a return to the sound of early Cult, close to the acclaimed Love album in style and vibe. It also marks a spiritual rebirth for the band, as both Asprey and Duffy encountered major changes in their lives, which they feel have led to personal growth and enlightenment. The spirit of the album is perhaps best represented by the track Sacred Life, which pays homage to Nirvana singer Kurt Cobain, actor River Phoenix and Mother Love Bone vocalist Andrew Wood, who all died through drug abuse. On a deeper level, the lyrics also reveal that Asprey himself had to sink to rock bottom in order to realise what he valued in his life.
There's a revolution. There's a revolution, yeah. There's a revolution. There's a revolution. I'm a warm child girl. I will feel wild bird. Start of dreams of a beautiful thing, yeah. Some seas are rising, smokestack lightning, smokestack lightning. Heart and soul, you've got to bleed a little while you sing. Less the words don't mean nothing. Get to the heart and soul. Gotta get to the heart and soul. Hey, hey there, sister. What is holy in your life? Hey, there, brother, sacred in your life.
The song Sacred Life, it's about how I felt when Kurt Cobain passed away, and how I felt when Andrew Wood passed away, and how I felt when Abby Hoffman went, and you know, River Phoenix. I mean, it wasn't a case of sitting down and thinking of like, right, what name should I put in this? It was just a case of those are the ones that came out. And Abby Hoffman was somebody who, in his day, was a radical, and he basically became more and more self-destructive because he was really disillusioned with what his generation had become. You know, and how it made me feel was that I really identified with these people. I identified with the pain. I identified with their experience of trying to express themselves and being denied that by part of the audience, the media, maybe friends, family, whatever, and how painful that is. A desire to communicate and want to be accepted and not having it happen. And then asking the question, really, what is sacred in your life? Is life holy to you? Is it important to you? Because it's not some sort of pedestrian thing to me. It's something I cherish. You know, I have a 15-month-old son now. And he's another reason why I have to be so honest, because when I look at him, I can't lie to him. So I can't lie in my music, you know? So I'm determined to constantly find what the real meaning is when I'm really trying to be as honest with myself and with people. Because like Janis Joplin said, you know, all that young people are looking for right now is sincerity. You know, sincerity in the music and a good time. And I really agree with that.
Down out in London, Los Angeles, and Paris too. I drank a river in my time just to get on through.
There's nothing romantic about being self-destructive. It's very painful. And mine didn't come out of sort of a contrived, well, I've seen Keith Richards trash himself on heroin. for 15 years, and you know, wanted to aspire to that sort of poetic, romantic side of somebody being self-destructive. It was nothing like that at all. It's the fact that I really couldn't deal with what I was going through, my experience. I mean, not just the band, the pressure of being in a band and being, you know, people constantly want a piece of you. It was more than that. It was my personal relationship, you know, relationships I was in, and the fact that I couldn't handle drinking, and I didn't have very good social graces. I couldn't be around a lot of people without crumbling, you know. It was a lot of stuff, and a lot of this came from when I was a child and the way I was brought up, and you know, environments I grew up in. In the past, I used to use a lot of symbolism. I used to like overdress, and I think it was like an overcompensation for maybe insecurity and youth, you know, and sort of like angst-ridden. I didn't really want to talk about my past too much. I sort of shrouded it in symbolism and, you know, romantic mysticism and stuff. And a lot of people found that off-putting because they couldn't get through the lyrics, and yet in interviews I was saying one thing about, you know, experiences, and then they look at the lyrics and say, well, that truth isn't coming through in the lyrics. It's sort of shrouded in the lyrics. But this time around, it's more a case of I feel really much more comfortable talking about, you know, my life and experiences, and not having to use other characters to talk about myself, like Sonic Temple sort of spoke about myself through Edie Sedgwick, you know, the song Edie. It's easier to sing about her than it was to sing about myself, because I felt that if maybe I disclosed that to people, they would find it, you know, maybe too much to take in, and maybe they wouldn't like us. Because, I mean, it doesn't matter who you are, you want to be accepted on a basic level. You know, just a very human thing to want to be accepted. And I think that maybe I tried too hard, and it wasn't a case of being guilty trying too hard. It was just such a desire to want to reach people and communicate, you know. It just happens to be called The Cult, and it really is a band. There's a lot of harmony, you know, and it's not like sort of a political thing Scott's sitting here. This is the fact that this is a band, so, you know, I mean, Scott and Craig have contributed as much to this record as myself and Billy have, you know, and without them it would have been impossible to make this record, or impossible for this band to continue. So in a sense, this is the most consistent lineup we've ever had. This is the most harmonious time we've ever had, because like when we first started, it was off the back of Southern Death Cult and Theatre of Hate, so there was a real pressure there to succeed and be as popular as those groups were. So we've always had that pressure there, and this is the first time where it's been a complete pleasure, you know. I mean, it's still outside pressures and stuff. It's, you know, there's still, the lifestyle isn't very conservative, you know. I mean, it's just that we don't sort of promote hedonism as kind of like our main thing. The music is the most important thing. Our lifestyle secondary. I'm sure there'll be stuff that happens on the road and incidents that happen down the line where, you know, just come through a high-pressure situation that most bands seem to be their bread and butter, you know, as opposed to the music. A lot of bands rely on antics and hysterics, you know, and that's what they get noticed on, as opposed to the music. And then when we're actually judged on the music, people find it pretty thin on the ground. So you know, it's a case of, I guess, maturity and experience is coming through now, and that's really exciting. Incredible, because in the past myself and Billy had to coach a lot of the times, you know, the previous musicians in the group. We'd had to tell them what we want from them, and in this is the first instance where you know, Craig and Scott were basically pushing us, and we felt a lot more relaxed with what we were doing because they were so together themselves. So it was a really easy record to make. In a lot of respects, we didn't have enough time to do as much as we wanted, because we went in the studio with like 30, 40 songs. We ended up recording 20. And there had to be a cut-off point because we just kept going and going and going. And we just go into the studio. We didn't have any pre-production or anything. We went to a studio in North Vancouver in Canada with Bob Rock, and it was just like a little warehouse, and there was an old Neve desk in there. It was pretty much all analog recorded. Everything was recorded live off the floor. You know, we weren't allowed to record until after 5 o'clock because next door to the studio was offices. So it's kind of a strange thing. But that was really good because it gave us the opportunity to arrange songs and talk about ideas, instrumentation and stuff. And everything was just a case of, you know, natural ideas. Everything flowed really easily. And by that time, the band was really together because we'd been playing a lot. We'd done shows, rehearsed a lot. So everything gelled really well. A piece of music, sometimes it can really inspire me just to get over a really bad patch or express a better time even better. So, yeah, I mean, that's the basic underlying theme of the whole record. You know, music to live by as opposed to just, you know, background music. It's much more profound than that.
Great to see the band on such fine form. That was our in-depth interview with The Cult. And as you saw, Asprey & Co. will be touring Europe from the 7th of November, playing more dates in small